were talking about making it second nature. Are some of us so long in the tooth with our own training that what's second to us is Shihan and kata, and that's why we teach it, because we're comfortable teaching that, and that we actually feel a little bit reticent to teach the self-defense because we're not doing it day in, day out, week in, week out, and we're afraid to teach it for getting it wrong. And bunkai the same. It's just a question for the room. It might be that we're a little nervous to do it, which is why we don't. Therefore, our teaching of it is not getting reinforced equally.
Yeah.
I think if you actually teach the wrong badly, you look like a tool, and we don't want to do that.
Yeah, I totally appreciate that. That is primarily the biggest reason why people wouldn't teach, say kata application, bunkai, or basics bunkai. But here's the thing, the basics bunkai, it's really easy to learn. Do you know what I mean? We can learn that easily. I know that some of the application that maybe I might go through whatever, it may not be very easy just to pick up and do it. But all I can say is do what I do. And I learn just a little bit at a time, and I drip feed it into my classes. Does that make sense? I can't sit there and try to learn it all before I start teaching anything. You'd never see nothing. I will never teach anything if that's the case. Because here's the fact, I don't know that much. I know a little bit. But all that little bit I know, I try to teach it. Does it make sense? So, and I'm just being open with you. I'm being honest. Like, I don't know all the answers. I don't know all the bunkai for all the kata. But I just have to be confident in myself that what I do know, I can teach and I can show. And even if it's just a little bit at a time. So what you need to do is just think to yourself one small thing. If you just do one thing every week or one application every 2 or 3 weeks. In most cases, you'll do something, and that one thing that might take 5 minutes in a class or 10 minutes for partner work will be the thing that will highlight. Will be the highlight of the student for that week, maybe for that month. But it will just give them enough motivation or enough inspiration to keep coming back, to want more. Does that make sense? And then that inspires you to do more, to learn a bit more, to put out a little bit more. Yeah? It is important though, what Sharon said back there, it's absolutely critical that we don't have these conversations and then they stay in the room when we leave. We've got to take all this back to our dojos and back to our senior classes, and we need to make sure that we equip all the senior instructors with information and the training, and we're doing more and more, we're getting together more and doing more live workshops with all our senior people to continue to upskill them as we're teaching ourselves and we're learning stuff. And then it's important for the senior classes to have more of this conversation and the practical side of this conversation. You know what I mean? Like, senior class is not just come in, train, pick up your stock and go home. There has to be an element of, you will get the best training in the region. Like if I was a senior instructor, if I was the regional manager, and you were in my class, you're my instructors, you would get the best training in the region. I would guarantee that. But you would also get a lesson in how to become a better instructor. How to look after students, how to look after new students, how to look after the more advanced students. We will be going through dojo management, leadership training, whatever you want to call it. I don't want to label it one word, but we'd be learning how to teach karate and how to look after our students and how to provide a better service. Does that make sense? You're getting both. So you're not one or the other, you're getting that and that. That's the goal. So this is what we need to make sure. I mean, we've got a lot of instructors from New Zealand here today. Like most of I don't know how many more there might be that couldn't make it here. Even if it's half. Would it be half? I don't know. What would you say, Max? Are we talking nearly half?
Maybe nearly half.
Okay, so there's a large group of people here, okay, that we can talk to about this. And I'm not saying let's click our fingers and as of next week it all changes. We need to change our mindset first. We need to appreciate the need for change, right? And I know that change is difficult. Like sometimes, several years ago, we put out structured kids programs and split the timetable, and adults learn this, and kids learn that, and yellow belts learn this, and high grades learn that. And it was all structured really well, but I also know that there was a lot of instructors that was like, oh my God, it's just too much. And it's all change. And change for a lot of people is difficult, right? Because as you might have said as well, it's what I don't know. This is stuff I'm not used to, I'm not comfortable. For most people, stepping out of a comfort zone is too daunting. So what do? We don't change. We keep doing what we know. It's always easier to do what we know. But what I'm saying now is the changes we want to make, we want to change our own mindset first. All right? We need to understand what we need to start teaching our junior, like our beginners. Because is it fair that out of 10 people that start with GKR, 7 or 8 of those will drop out before they even get to yellow belt? Is that fair? Oh, absolutely not. We should be surprised that anyone should quit. We should be surprised that anyone would just want to drop out after a few lessons, right? Unless they've moved country or, they just were completely, they thought they were going to do lawn bowls and it wasn't. And they gave it a few goes. I don't know how that could have happened, but maybe it happens, I don't know. Yeah? The only reason people quit is because they're bored. They find what we do boring. It's not what they thought it would be. Yeah? And I want me, starts from us top guys, and then it comes down to everyone in this room. I want us to be responsible I want to take ownership of that and say, well, it's my fault. If people are bored because of the karate, it's my fault. So how can I fix it? Does it make sense? If I keep saying, and if you keep saying, well, you know what? It's their problem. If they don't like it, who cares? If we keep saying that, then we're not taking ownership, we're not taking responsibility. That means we can't do anything to fix it. Okay? We just know that karate is either exciting or boring. There's no between. Right? Someone comes to your class, alright, they're either excited by what they're learning and they can't wait to come back, or they're, it's even, that's on the way out. Okay? I'm either loving it or I'm not. There's no middle. So we've just got to say, well, what do we need to do so that when people come to us and train with us, they're excited. They learn stuff that is applicable, that is real, and they want to come back and learn more of it and get better at it. That's what they should be thinking. Because I know we've got a great club. We've got the biggest club in the country, no doubt. And it's incredible and it's amazing and it's all those things. But we can't rest on that. That's not enough for us. Not when 7 or 6 out of 10 people can't even get through the yellow belt. And we give people a lot of incentive when they start. You know what I mean? Yeah. But maybe we've conditioned ourselves to believe that it doesn't matter if people drop out because we'll just get more recruited. Just because we have this thing called, a recruiting machine, or, just because we've got consultants that can go out there and, whether it's knocking on someone's door or talking to them in a shopping centre to join them up, that can't be our excuse anymore. You know what I mean? We're no different to any other karate club in the country, in the world, where people, it doesn't matter how they get to find out about us, they come and want to train with us, and they pay training fees, and we need to give them more than they're paid for. They pay $12, I want them to feel like they got $20 worth of value. Does it make sense?
Right.
If they pay $12 and they feel like they've walked out with $6 worth of value, then I don't feel good about that. Even if $12 is cheap, I don't know if it's still cheap here or not. Yeah, I sometimes talk to people who at school and that, and they think that we charge $20, $25 for a private lesson. I'm like, seriously? Where are you from? We just charge $12. All right. So we do have a good karate club. We've got a great group of people. The atmosphere, the the human element, the emotional content. When people come in, great atmosphere, great club, great group of people. who are more than willing to help them, right? We're all like that, yeah? Anyone here not like that, so we can sort you out, or I mean, help you out, weed you out? I mean, stop. So we have got a good group of people. We've got a good karate club, and that's why we've just got to think to ourselves, well, you know what? We should be shocked if people drop out, at least before they get to yellow belt. Because we know if we can get them through the yellow belt, there's a much greater chance that they're getting the hang of it. Yeah? But we know we can't do that by offering lollies or, you know what I mean, promising stuff that's not there. We can only do that by giving them a great class and teaching them self-defense, so teaching them good quality karate. Yeah? Does that make sense to you guys?
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think you only have to take the class and look at the class. If you've got a good rapport with them and they talk to you and tell you what they enjoy, they'll often say they enjoy the peer group or, you know, something like music down a little bit more, maybe simple as the block and the strike for the younger ones. They love that sort of thing. So if you can just bring a little bit of that into your class each time, it is a form of self-defense, but maybe a little bit more simple. But the other thing that I know even the adults enjoy is Sensei Evans, you know, who's put them up, the rocket. They love that stuff. So that concept of bringing in that self-defense, more of it, and the reason why they're doing the strike, their block and what it's used for, it makes perfect sense. I think it's just a matter of structuring the class better so that you get the basic strikes and blocks in, or even a couple, as well as the self-defense side of it. But it does make sense because the kids, everybody smiles, they love that bit. And it always goes a little bit over the time you've set for it. But I think also the rapport you have with your students and if they're younger, the parents, or even the wider ones, it keeps the whole family atmosphere there and it keeps people wanting to come back. Because that's what we miss.
That's right.
It's not an easy thing. It's not an easy thing to do week in, week out because the classes, it's just something you have to set your class sheet, I think.
Yep.
I know, still losing, but.
But you can't hang on to everybody. You know what? They've got a damn good reason for not going to come back. Like, you know, they better be moving out of town.
I'm not going to
Yeah, or go chase them down. It's amazing how many instructors these days, I probably don't realise how much this is happening, but it's amazing how many of you guys have got your students' phone numbers, and you're more than happy to like give them a call. I remember 10, 15 years ago, when every phone call cost 20, 30, 40 cents on a mobile. These days it's you know, you've got a plan, you've got unlimited calls, so you just bug your students if they don't turn up.
Moving town's not an excuse in, so we train all over the country.
True. I'm talking like moving like to Zambia or something. Like, you're going to go to Africa. Go to America or somewhere we're not.
One more thing, I don't think $12 in our area is cheap for our parents, especially when they've got, even for one, they're not that well off. So, you know, you do want to give them the best you can for the money. But it certainly isn't, it is not cheap for some of our people that benefit.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's a fair chunk out of their weekly wages. So you do want to give them the best.
Yeah. And look, and the other thing with that though is, get them onto the PTA. I mean, there's a lot of savings there, especially if they're families. There's a lot of savings. Yeah? So PTF is obviously something else. I know some of our, I don't know about the stats for the New Zealand regions or the areas, but I know some of the areas in Australia where there's more consistency of training and less dropout. There's a really high percentage of people that aren't needing to make a decision every week to find their $12 and go to karate. Because they're not used to it. They're used to just, I'll pay for my 3 months. or I've paid my 12 lessons up front. You know what I mean? So whether it's karate or soccer or netball or basketball or the gym, you know what I mean? Everything is paid for the term. Yeah? I think we're probably one of the only sports, are we not, that, you know, still got to find money to go and pay at the class. Yeah? So prepaid training fees, they're convenient for everyone, especially the instructor at class. We tell them, because you don't have to worry about, you know, handling money and giving change and having a flight and all the rest of it that goes with it. But they also save people money. They just do. So what other excuse or reason do they need than that? You know what I mean? Yes, you had the...
I've had a number of students say that they can't get the lump sum to start them off to get the prepay, and they're really struggling with that. And I haven't been able to come up with a solution of how they can, keep some money aside each week until they can get even the 12 visit pass. I've tried. We've just moved dojos, and it's a lot harder in the area that we're now in to get people to prepay. Yeah. So I mean, I don't, whether you guys can think of another way, or someone else here would be really helpful, because I don't want them to give me extra money each week until they build enough up, because I don't want to handle all that money or anything.
Fair enough. I don't know if there's any other ideas in that, but you know, I guess for the most part, that's probably I think some families might be in that situation, or some individuals, but they have the option of just paying $12 a lesson anyway. We're fortunate we've got that option. A lot of martial arts clubs have moved away from that. It's, you know what I mean? It's all now automated, online. You know what I mean? And it's term fees, or you know, by the month, or whatever it is. So we still have that option. Yeah. So I guess that's a benefit at the moment, that we have that option. Yeah.
It would be really useful if you're talking about prepay and automatic options to actually have that available, so that you just set it up once like a direct debit and it just ticks over, and they're probably less likely to bail out on us if they've actually got to then undo that to...
Direct debit?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, we hope to do that again. I know we had it a while ago, but it was quite an expensive exercise. And we have to do it again. Where it's like monthly or whatever.
Integrates credit card type thing.
Yeah. For sure.
Shihan, I can't speak for the other managers, but I know, hearing what Sharon said before, I think one thing I know I can do, and it seems really simple to me, it only takes 10 minutes to take one block once a week and show 3 or 4 different self-defense moves based on that one block. I've heard heaps of people, I've been into a class just to visit on a Saturday, and the instructor's teaching what I did on Wednesday night, or a part of. You know, as myself, I need to take that ownership as well and make sure I'm doing it on a regular basis. I can do 8 blocks over 2 months. And then I know everyone else would be a lot more comfortable going through these things if we've done it, because I can do it if I know how to do it. I can teach it if I know it and I know how to teach it. And then they're teaching it within 7 days of seeing it. That's some ownership I can take that I can give to, to my region. And
Yeah. Well, I think we just need to make sure, and even with the stuff we're talking about, the focus on the beginners group and how to teach more self-defense. We're obviously going to be looking at putting stuff out, giving a lot of information with just direct video, to you guys to show you. These are class plans for white belts using blocks, strikes, combination of blocks, strikes, stances. You know what I mean? Ideas how to develop first kata principles, second kata principles, so it's block, punch, kick principles, for self-defense even. Does that make sense? Okay. Then when they put the kata together, like you should be telling your students, look, when you get the yellow belt, I'll show you the kata, we'll start putting it together. You'll pick it up just like that. But most adults will probably pick up and have the kata done before they get the yellow belt. But it shouldn't be because we're spending half of every lesson trying to teach people first kata. Right? Like I heard a story the other day, someone went, first class, right? Half basics, half learning first kata. first class, right? And if that person hadn't been spoken to by one of our instructors I was visiting, they may not have gone back. They were very just disillusioned. Like, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. Very frustrating, very confusing. Yeah? It's like when we say, let's make sure that when we take our students to gradings, that we're not doing fancy combinations just to, just to show them how cool we are, like how much more advanced we are than their own instructor. They should be doing the same combinations at grading as what we teach them at the dojo. Right? They should know what they're going to go and grade for. Right? Because then it won't frustrate them. We have more awareness about how it makes them feel. And imagine being a parent of a young child who's frustrated at a grading, starts it gets emotional, starts crying because they're doing stuff they have never done in class. I don't think their parent will be going, suck it up, princess. I think they're going, where's the bloody instructor? Yeah? And they'll either be blaming their own instructor because they didn't teach them anything, right? They'll be looking at you guys going, how come you didn't teach them this? And you're like, does it make sense? Or they'll be going for the senior instructor. What are you doing to my son, daughter? So these are things that we become aware of sometimes after the fact, but we're aware of that now. We don't do that anymore. We cannot afford to do that anymore. So we will put, some ideas together. But one of the big things for today, while it's kind of fresh in our mind, is to talk to everyone about it, so that we can change our thinking. We can start to evolve our thinking, to appreciate that when new people come in. If you get 10 new students, I'll be telling them all, listen, you're all new tonight, this is what we're going to do, this is how it's going to work out. After class, bring them all in. How did you go? Did you like that? Good. I want you all, right, you're all starting together. 12 lessons from now, I want you all to be graduating to yellow belt. All right? You all started under a special promotion as well. When you get to yellow belt, the club gives you a gold membership. Like, that's part of the pack, right? It was a big incentive. Does it make sense? Yeah? But that's just an extra incentive. But what I want these guys to sort of appreciate is that my goal is to get them to yellow belt. My first goal for you is to teach you some basic karate, some good self-defense principles, and get you to yellow belt. That's like finishing a beginner's course. Yeah? And that's your first step. Okay? You know how much your chances of getting to black belt increase once you get to yellow belt? Okay? A lot. Okay? 77.3%. No, I'm joking. It's only 76%. Yes.
To be honest, if you do a white belt basic course and you've got a split class with lots of ranges, you're not always going over those first 4 or 5 whatever self-defense moves you come up with the course over and over again for thoughts on how you divide. So when people come in,
Yeah. Well, I guess I made an assumption here. The assumption is that we have a branch instructor and a senpai every class. So if you don't have a senpai, then you can do it by yourself. But when you get beyond 10, 12, 15 students, and there's a range, then we need to really start to consider, well, what do we need to do in this class to bring up a senpai? And to put them through the STP, or even just before there's an STP available, to get them there. So my assumption here is that every class has instructor or senpai. Does that make sense? And the senpai's role, this is what I know it was like 150 years ago, but when I was teaching in Adelaide, that's what I had, that's what I enforced, made sure. I had a senpai. His job was to look after white belts and graduate them to yellow belt. And they would look over at the rest of our group, all right, and their goal was to get there. Does it make sense? Because they could see these guys doing more things, more exciting things, but they knew that they had to get through their white belt course, if that makes sense, like their introductory course. Yeah? So if you don't have a senpai, you need to start speaking to your instructor, like now, saying, what do we need to do? We need to get a senpai in this class. Okay? Make sense? Otherwise we'll probably a lot more of that on. Yeah? That's the best way. That's the best way I can explain or answer that question. Yeah? Because I can appreciate one instructor. I know you can be multitasking, and that's fine. But it is a lot different. It is a lot more harder.
Especially if there's age ranges.
Age ranges,
Because if
belt
you're teaching
ranges.
0 to 5,
Yeah.
In terms of teaching some of the things that we're talking about, have you ever sort of like doing things like, in some styles they have like 3-step sparring, so something in between combos and sparring, but specifically structures around
Sure.
3-step sparring and all that? Is that, you can even like the standard block punch kick combo, turning that into a structured 3-step sparring to actually what it's like for.
Yes. Well, we have got some 3-step sparring drills, but we can certainly incorporate them and more like them into the structure, into the format. Yeah, definitely. Did you hear that question? It's just about incorporating some things like 3-step sparring, so that like bridges the gap between the basics and sparring for the white belts as well. So yes, you know, when we put our minds to it, and this is where you guys hopefully can get involved as well and pass up some, you know, some of the ideas you've got and the things you use in your classes to train white belts, right? We can start to put together like a library of all these different things to work on and focus on and training ideas, you know. So we can't say to you, what's not going to happen, by the way, is we're not going to come out in a month and say, here's 12-week plan. Week 1, 2, this is exactly what we teach. Because that can't happen. It's too rigid when there's always new people coming and going. Does that make sense?
Right.
What we can do is say, look, here's the 5 basic blocks, and here's a whole bunch of things that each of them can relate to. This is what you can do with each of them. And then this is what you can do with some of them combined. This one and that one and this one. And here's how some of the strikes can be incorporated as well. So, and it's not like you're doing it every lesson, all lesson long. But you know, if you can show a white belt within the first few lessons what some of these things mean, even if they were just to see you doing it, it might be enough for them to go, okay, I see it, I see what it means, right? They may not be doing it straight away, but they see what it means, and they know that that's what they're working towards straight away. Yes?
I know that you told us at the last meeting that basically how we actually teach our students, breaking them into groups, facing one another. I actually found that was actually a big plus for our dojo. It knocked down the boredom of kids just facing one direction, doing all these strikes and blocks and so forth. They actually had a bit more fun doing it, training against the partner. So that actually was a big plus.
And that was just facing each other, doing the same
Just
thing.
facing exactly the same.
Yep. That, circles, just putting in little circles. We're just, you know, trying to outcompete each other with the punches, the speed, strength, and punches, and kicks,
Competitions against one another.
little competitions. But when you put people facing each other, things change. Yeah. I mean, we see that with you guys. We see you guys at the front, just doing like this. Then we say pair up, you go, yippee! And you're all smiles. It's not on video, don't worry. It's true. Everyone loves it. Everyone loves the, you know, partnering up stuff. Yeah, yeah, cool.